Good morning, students. In today's lecture, we will discuss on biological diversity, and in this lecture, we will complete the basic introduction of biological diversity, their types of biological diversity, the values of biological diversity, and major threat to the biological diversity. At last, we will focus on how to conserve our biological diversity. So let's start this topic. So here, myself, Dr. Kamal Joshi, I am associate professor and departmental head in Environmental Science Department, Grafikira Hill University, Dehradun campus. So let's start the topic. In the slide, in the first slide, you can see that the variety of living things. Here you can see the variety of living things in terms of mammals, birds, insects, and flower also, and the plants also. So these are the combination of these is known as biological diversity. It means you can see like the variety of living organisms is considered as a biological diversity. This term was introduced in 1992 at the conference which was organized by United Nations under the United Nations Environmental Program at Rio de Janeiro. So the first time in 1992 the definition of biological diversity was introduced as the variability among living terrestrial, marine and other aquatic ecosystem and the ecological complexes of which they are a part. This includes diversity within species, between species, and of ecosystems. So here you can see this definition is explaining the basic definition of biological diversity, and similarly it also indicating the types of biological diversity. So if we focus on this definition, in the first line it indicates like the definition of variety. The definition of biological diversity means actually the living organisms are available on the terrestrial as well as the aquatic part. Or you can see in the world like we have two different aquatic habitats, and one of them is a freshwater ecosystem, and second one is the marine ecosystem. So the variety or the variability among the living organisms in a terrestrial ecosystem, like a terrestrial ecosystem may be forest, desert, and agriculture, etc. These are the terrestrial ecosystem. So variety of living organisms in the terrestrial ecosystem, marine and other aquatic ecosystems. And this is the which species are living in this habitats, and they have some variety. So this one is considered as a biological diversity. And the second part of the definition, it says that this includes the diversity within a species. And the diversity, how can you identify this diversity or types of diversity? So include diversity within a species, between a species, and of the ecosystem. Means that the three types of variations that means the three types of variation are generally found in the among the species. Like these variations may be in a species, different species, or among the species, may be a variation in a same species, or the variations is indicated through the different types of through the different ecosystems, because the ecosystems are different. So obviously the biological diversity, the living organisms may be different. So in the simple terms, the definition, it can be defined as the variety of living organisms of that area, and this area is known pardon the variety of living organisms of that area known as the biological diversity of that area. So means a particular some living organism, they have some variation, they are found in particular area. So these variation of that species is known as the biological diversity of that area. And generally, the biological diversity is found variation through the abatic components. In this slide you can see like the global map, and the color contour are indicating like the different climatic conditions. So climatic conditions are the abatic components, and these abatic components are the responsible for the variation, because the abatic components, they add effects on the vegetation vegetations, and these vegetations, they are effects indicate the variation on the other animal organisms. So in this slide you can see, that's why we can see the variation among the living organisms. So this one is the reason behind the variation. We will go in more in detail in next slides. So let's start the status of biodiversity in India. So what is the status of biodiversity in India? So here you can see that India is 10th in position out of the 12 mega biodiversity zone. So this one is very good thing about the India, and India stand in 10th position out of the world, which have a 12 mega biodiversity zone. So means it means that India have a variety of animals and plant species. Similarly, in case of plants, if we see in Asiatic region, so we stand at fourth in position in Asia, due to the just because of we have a variety of plant species in Asia. So what is the reason behind it? The variation. What is the reason behind is a variation? It means that we can see here like the India is generally located, or we can say the Indian plate is generally constructed with the three different plates, and these plates are generally well known in the rich biological zones. First one place, India is considered to construct with the first plate. This one is the Afro-tropical plate. This plate is generally distinct from the African part. Here you can see like in this picture. So this one is the Afro-tropical plate, which was distinct from this area, and this area is in India is Gujarat to Kerala. This one part is Afro-tropical plate. Second one is the Indo-Malaya region. Here you can see that this one region, this one is the Indo-Malaya region, means the Bay of Bengal to Chennai. This region is a part of plate is constructed by this Indo-Malaya region. So, and the northern part of this of India, from J&K to northeast, this Himalayan region is generally concerned with the Paleo-Arctic region. This is the region behind the India have a unique or the variety of biological diversity in India, because India is concerned with the three different plates, and these three plates are rich in biological diversity part. Afro-tropical plate is Western Ghat region. Here you can see this, and that's why this area is comes under the hotspot areas. Indo-Malaya region, this one is this area. This one is they have some unique variety of species. These species are present here as well as here also, and this one is Paleo-Arctic region. So these species, they are existing in this area, and the J&K to northeast region in India. The same species are also available in the China region, also in the Paleo-Arctic region also. The same species is a temporary region. So these are the reason behind the rich bio India is stand in rich biological diversity country in the world. Now we will focus on the different zones in India. So here you can say, if we focus on on India, and to understand the variety of diversity or variety of plant and animal species, so India is further divided in 10 different biogeographical zones. So here you can see these are the list of 10 biogeographical zones. These zones are indicating in different color regions in the slide. Is here the India is, this one is part, this one is the Trans Himalaya region, this one is cold desert area, comes under the cold desert area, and next one is the Western Himalaya region, this one is second part, and the Indo-Gangetic region, this one is Central Highlands, semi-arid regions, desert, Deccan Peninsula, this one is coastal regions. Yeah, you can see this one is coastal region, islands, these are the islands, and Gangetic Plain. So these are the 10 different biogeographical zones, and they have its own unique plant and animal species, because these habitats are unique, and they provide a unique or variety of plant and animal species. That's why India is again considered as a rich biological zone in the world. Uh, for example, Indo-Gangetic range is very much famous for gharials. So these animal species, gharial species, they are very much famous in Indo-Gangetic region. Similarly, in the Western Himalaya region, here one bird is a monal bird is very famous. So these bird is very are abundance are available in abundance in these regions. So, similarly, these regions, due to the different geographical regions, they provide these geographical regions provide a unique climatic condition, and that's why we can see the variation in the biological diversity in India in different parts. Now, in this slide, you can understand the types of diversity. So, as we have seen in the first slide, second slide of this lecture, that we have discussed about the diversity, biological diversity. Then, in the definition of the biological diversity, they have mentioned that the three types of diversities. So, the diversities can be divided to three parts. First one is the species diversity. Actually, the species diversity means the variety of species or in a particular species in a particular area. This is known as the species diversity. For example, you can see in this picture, in this picture, here is the picture of a garden. In a garden, you can see the variety of flower species. So, if we talking about the biological diversity, we can say a rich species diversity in a garden, flower diversity in a garden. So this one is a species diversity in a garden. You can see the variety of species, flower species. So it means the garden diversity is very rich, flower diversity is very rich. Similarly, in case of the forest, here you can see that in this slide you can see the variety of plant species, this one. So in a forest area, you can see the variety of plant species. So these are the species diversity of that forest area. So these are considered as a species diversity, and it is referred as the species diversity refer to the variety of species within a region. Means in a particular area or a region, we can see the variety of species is considered as a species diversity. Similarly, in second types of diversity is the genetic diversity. It refers to the variation of genes within a species. It is very interesting thing that in a particular area, suppose we are talking about the garden, so we can see the variety of flowers in a garden. If we go in a deep in a particular species, suppose in a variety of flower, or we are discussing on the rose, so we can see the variety of rose flowers are available in a garden. So Rose is a one species, and we can see the variation among the species in the same species. So this one is considered as a genetic diversity. We can understand in this slide. We can understand this genetic diversity through this slide. Like this one is the population human being, and you can say they are the variety of human beings in different region countries in the world. So we have a different color textures. So these are the Homo sapiens is the one species, but due to the genetic modification, we can see we have a different colors, different hair colors, like different structures also, height also. These are the genetic modification. So we have this is considered as a genetic diversity. Similarly, in here you can see that this one is the different color of chicks, egg after the hatching of these eggs. But in chicks color we can see the different colors. These colors is developed due to the genetic modification or the genetic mutation also. So the species is one, is hen, and it is considered, but due to the color, different color, we can say this one is a genetic diversity. So this is considered as a genetic diversity. Now the third one types of diversity is ecosystem diversity. Ecosystem diversity, it indicate like this, like on earth we can see the variety of ecosystem, of the different types of ecosystem, natural ecosystem. And that's why due to the variety of ecosystems are existing on earth, that's why we can see the variety of species on earth. It's mean the ecosystems also responsible to diversify the living things, plants or animals also. Actually, the ecosystem diversity is studied in three different ways or three different types. First one is the alpha diversity, second is the beta diversity, and the third one is a gamma diversity. We can try to understand here through this picture, like the alpha diversity, is in this slide you can see, like here this one is the alpha diversity. So in this picture here, this area is a complete forest ecosystem. Or if we are studying about in particular small area, this one is a small biodiversity, or this one is considered as an alpha diversity. Or alpha diversity, if we are calculating or estimating the diversity of the forest area, if we are doing study in this part, alpha part, it one is considered the alpha diversity, and this area is representing the complete entire area. But study is also considered authentic, but this small area is representing the entire region. Second, the beta diversity. Beta diversity means if we are comparing between the two different areas. Suppose here is a one habitat, the forest habitat. Suppose here is another area of same forest habitat. If we are comparing in these two areas, is considered as a beta diversity. Or sometime in the same habitat, suppose we are talking about the terrestrial habitat, or we are in a terrestrial habitat, we have two different habitat in a terrestrial, like one is forest and second one is the urban area. So if we are comparing the species, suppose plant species which are available in the forest and which species are available in a urban area. So if we are comparing the species between the two habitat, so this one is considered as a beta diversity. Now the gamma diversity, it means if we are analyzing the biological diversity entire this forest habitat is considered as a gamma diversity. So gamma diversity is completely authentic, it's time taking, it will take too much time for their complication or for their analyzing the ability of the species. So this one is a gamma diversity. Or if we are studying about the alpha, small part of that area of that particular habitat, this one is considered the alpha diversity. So these are the different among the different types of biological diversity. Now we will focus on the value of biological diversity. Actually, why we take more interest for the conservation of this biological diversity? It means it indicates that the biodiversity have a lot of potential. That's why we are considering the biological diversity nowadays. In the last decade, like 2011 to 2020, this decade is considered as uh, a biodiversity decade by the UN, by the United Nations also. So here we are in this slide we are focusing on the value of biological diversity. So first biological diversity value is the environmental services. Uh, it's mean that the all type of environmental services like the climate conditions, climate change, flood control, nutrient cycle, geochemical cycles, gaseous cycles, these are the environmental services. They are happening, they are surviving, they are regulating continuously from the starting of the earth, the earth stage, earth age. So these environmental servicing, they are continuously without any interruption, they are simultaneously going on. So the, the continuation and the surviving for the sustainability and the continuing surviving of these services, the biodiversity play an important role to regulate these services. If we change in the part of biological diversity, like in terms of plants or animals, obviously we can change the environmental services. Nowadays we are facing like the climate change conditions. So the reason behind is we have lost, we have vanished our lot of biological diversities in terms of plants and animals. So that's why these environmental services are affecting, and we are facing such types of conditions also. Now the social values. Biodiversity also responsible for the social values. Social values mean the recreation, aesthetics, and the research values. Biodiversity it has its own social values, and as a social human being, human is a social animal. So we as a, in our society we are continuously conserving by the different ways, and we are using sustainably uh, these their services and these biological diversity also. Similarly, the direct harvesting, it means that some uses of uh, diversity, biological diversity, we can directly harvest it. Now we are very civilized and we are using all those things in a very sustainable manner, but most of them today nowadays are most of things, and they are directly harvested from the nature also. For example, in especially in the hilly areas or the interior areas, in India also, we are using different medicine plants. We can directly harvest from the forest area also. So these are known as a direct harvesting values. Similarly, the village areas, they are established nearby the forest area also. They are using some fodder plants. They collect these fodder plants from the nature, from the forest area. So these are the direct harvesting methods. Okay, many medicines, they have some knowledge to identify this the herbs. They are functioning as a medicinal property. They have some medical property. So the cultivators or sometimes the villagers, they directly collect from the from their natural habitat. So these things are the direct harvesting of the biological diversity. Similarly, the most uh, valuable in the current era, in the uh, present time, the development potential. The development potential, a lot of development potential have biodiversity. Suppose if we are working on a some we are developing on a new species or new thing after changing in some genes. So we have to go some original species. So the nature is provide uh, the variety of original gene pools. So that's why we can say that the nature have the biodiversity have a development potential, and many researchers, scientists, and they are using this development potential, and they are developing a new species, new breed also, and these breeds are very much helpful for the sustainable growth of the human being. So these are the value. I'm discussing here in a very brief manner to understand the value of this biological diversity. And next, we will discuss on the major threat. Here you can say this slide is self-explanatory, and you can understand then the major threat to the biodiversity. Here in the first slide, you can see that this one is the deforestation, and every year many forests are cut through cut are cutting just because of several development activities. We are constructing the highways, new highways, railway line also, and other development activities. So we are cutting our forest areas. So actually, forests in natural habitat, forests provide a good shelter to the uh, other living things, and it is a good habitat. Now we are destructing the habitats. If we are destructing the habitat of animal species, obviously these cutting of forest and deforestation is the major threat to the biological diversity, because these forests provide shelter, nesting sites, food material to the animal species, so to the consumer of a forest ecosystem. So if we are cutting these producers and plant from the forest area, and we are using this area for agriculture purposes and the other development activities, so obviously the depending species on this forest, they will completely vanish from that area. So these are the major threat to the biological diversity. In this slide, you can see this one is the forest fire, and the forest fire is, I will not go through in detail the forest fire, because forest fire is sometimes is considered as a natural phenomenon, but nowadays due to the greedy nature of human being, they have is considered as a notorious for the debatable question, create a debatable question uh, uh, on the threat, and considered as a major threat to the biological diversity. So, but in a natural way, the forest fire is very much useful for the regeneration of forest. But the over extension of the forest fire, or this one is a major threat to the biological diversity. Every year, huge number of animals, they are completely burned. They have completely destroyed many nests, many juvenile of the birds. They have completely destroyed from the forest areas. So forest fire is considered as a major threat to the biodiversity. Second, next, you can see here this one is the overgrazing process. It means the if uncontrolled pasteurization of the animals, this one is the another responsible for the degradation of the biological diversity, because the soil is a major component which provide a healthy growth of the plant. If we remove this soil from the particular area, so obviously we are destroying the plant species, or we are degrading the forest soil also, soil quality also. If we degrade the soil quality, obviously we are degrading the plant species and animal species which are depending on that particular plant species. So the overgrazing is is a consideration is considered as a major threat to the biological diversity, especially in the north region, because many communities, they are called as a Vargujars. They are using this uncontrolled pasteurization, and they move their animals from one area to another area, and they are overgrazing uh, uh, practices. They are the responsible for the degradation of forest, and the degradation of forest is again considered as a major threat to the biological diversity. In the next picture, you can see this one is the filling to the wetlands. Now the wetlands, the natural wetlands, they are also create a unique ecosystem, and in this unique ecosystem they you can see the variety of biological diversity, but due to the human greedy nature and the human encroachment, these wetlands are shrinking day by day, because the human being is using a different chemical fertilizer to extend their land, and they are dumping their waste material into the in the natural wetlands. So these wetlands are shrinking day by day and extending their land area, or obviously they're depending on the species, which species they are depending on this particular wetland, they are vanishing from that area. So nowadays the Loktak Lake is considered a good wetland in the northeast. They have lost many species in that area. Similarly, in the Dal Lake also they are shrinking day by day, and they are facing the same condition, same situation, and then threat to the major threat to the biological diversity as well as the tourism in that area. So, in next slide, here I would like to share to all of you that in the last decades was considered as a biodiversity decades. So in the last 10 years, many researchers, scientists, they focus on the species distribution pattern in the world. So here I would like to share some data about the distribution of species at the globally, that according to the information from the last 10 years, uh, we have a not clear picture, but through the percentage we can see that we have 49 species, 49% of the study they have shown that the species distribution from low to high elevation, it's look like as a hump shape. Hump shape means they increase from low to mid elevation zone, and after mid elevation zone complete slightly decline. So, and the 20% is indicate like the species distribution from low to high elevation is completely decline, and 24% of the studies have been shown that the species richness is is found high at the low elevation, and when you go from low to high elevation, the diversity uh, become low. So the pattern, 49 species study showing the hump shape pattern, mid elevation or the hump shape pattern. 20% is showing that the decrease, and 40% is richness, so it's low elevation respectively. This indicate like the 20%, 24% is indicate like the increase species richness and diversity from low to high elevation. That is the meaning of this statement. So here I would like to share my study in the Uttarakhand region. I studied in different districts, and I will compile these studies, and we found that if you go from low to high elevation zone, from it's look like the hump shape structure. It's here you can see that is the minimum elevation study elevation was 325 meter here. Then it's from maximum high study level was 2300 meter. So the species distribution is indicating like it's slightly increase and at the mid elevation zone of the study range, and after that they decline. So it's look like the hump shape. So there are 49% of species have been shown that such types of structures in their studies also. Now we will discuss on the biodiversity assessment. Biodiversity assessment will continue in next lecture. So we have to end here the present lecture. We will continue in the next lecture. Thank you very much.